I've chosen that first reading from Exodus as the first reading for my funeral mass. It'll be next week or the week after. So if you want to come a little late to my funeral, you can. You won't miss anything. Just get there by the second reading. But I picked it because, for me, it's a beautiful picture of a lot of things. You could make a lot of things out of it, but for me it's two things. A picture of parish life and a picture just of the church in general. And I like this thing. I do want to find an artist who will paint this for me. But it's a wonderful triangle. Here is Joshua fighting Amalek. Here is Moses interceding for him. And of course, it's God's power that allows Joshua to be victorious. And just in general, it seems like that's the way it's going to work as we battle the enemy and try to change the world for good. That seems to be the way God set it up. Jesus isn't here anymore, not walking around on the earth. He established a church and handed over his mission to the church. So it's up to us, it's up to the church to accomplish this mission. But the church needs God's help, and so we pray to God and ask for that help. But as far as parish life, to me, the same triangle is going on. So you guys are Joshua, I'm Moses, and God, of course, is God. And my primary work is not out in the world, really. My primary work is here. Now, this is a little bit of oversimplification, so don't take it too far. But I've said this to you before. I will never meet the people you work with, probably, or the people you go on vacation with, or your neighbors. That's not... my work isn't really going out to all those people. That belongs to you. You'll meet people that I will never meet. You'll speak with people with whom I will never speak. And so I can't reach them. You have to do it. And so while you all are out working, either trying to proclaim the gospel or witness to people, or doing God's works of mercy, I pray for you. I hold you in my heart, in my prayers. I pray I have a long list. It's not just for people who are sick or dying or going through troubles of one sort or another. I also try to remember who is doing what ministry. Now, I can't claim that I remember everyone and what they're doing. Because, thank the Lord, many of you are doing many things, But when you're out doing pro-life work, for instance, 40 Days for Life is going on now, And I try to be aware and remember when you all are going, say, up to the Planned Parenthood. While you guys are there, standing there, talking with people or praying or whatever you're doing, I try to remember that and keep you in my prayers, But we got all kinds of things. Mary Rose Mission, Rose Garden Mission, St. Bernard Pantry, the soup kitchen, what used to be, Interfaith Hospital, no, it was something, Family Promise, all that stuff. I try to remember when those things are going on and who's doing what then, and try to pray for you so you have God's power in you as you go out and do your work. But it's a lovely detail. Moses is doing that, but he gets tired, his hands. So Aaron and her have to support him in that. And I find that support. You guys do that. I know many of you, and you tell me, you pray for me. I know there are many of you who pray for me every day. It's one of the things I love about the Spiritual Mothers of Priests program. You know, that I know there's one mother who is completely dedicated, one woman who's completely dedicated to praying for me by name. I'm her only spiritual son or something, you know. So in all these ways, that keeps my hands up, so to speak, so I can continue interceding for you guys. And it just seems to me that's the way things are supposed to work, you know. But it won't work if we don't do our part. If I'm not praying for you, I'm not saying I'm the only source of your spiritual support, but I think if I don't pray for you, if I'm not supporting you spiritually in some way, and physically when I can even, that lessens the effectiveness of your work. You know, and if you aren't out working, I can pray all day and nothing's going to happen, you know. Remember, I asked each of you, I just challenged each of you to ask one person about whether they'd like to come into the church or not. You know. I don't know whether you did or not. I always assume the best of people, unless proven otherwise. You know. But if you didn't, then the system broke down a little bit, so to speak. You know what I mean? And if I'm not encouraging you or praying for you, then the system breaks down a little. And I love the 4 words that St. Paul uses in the second reading. He says, proclaim, convince, reprimand, encourage. So proclaim the word whenever you get a chance. At least a little, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a big way, you know. Encourage. Whenever you see good in the world, encourage it in some way, you know. When you see evil in the world, reprimand it, you know. When someone talks, you know, you get a chance, whether it's abortion or euthanasia or pornography or whatever it is, whenever you see evil in the world, to reprimand it, encourage, and convince. Convince people of the truth of the Catholic faith. That's your work, plus mercy. If you do your work and I do my work to support you in prayer, we can count on God's power, of course, as long as we are praying for it. And so, just as Joshua mowed down Amalek with the point of the sword, through the power of God and Moses' intercession, so we can do our part of mowing down the enemy in the world and creating a more just and merciful and good society. You guys are Joshua. I promise I'll be the best Moses I can be for you, and you know we can count on God's word. So let's continue to pray for each other. Let's continue to do the work that Jesus gave us to do.